Hey guys, so as you may or may not know, Sunshine is a service dog in training, and this will be her first year on campus with us. Michaela, her handler, my best friend, is a college student, and so that means that basically she goes to campus quite often to go to classes. So today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the most important things that you need to make sure your service dog can do or doesn't do, or that you have, or whatever, before you take your service dog to college. So I'm going to consider this kind of a part one because I'm planning on doing a little bit more to this series. And this is just kind of one of our first real sessions on campus. So, just consider this like a tips video. I know I missed a bunch of stuff, but if you want to leave any other tips for anybody else in the comments who might be needing them, go ahead and leave those down below, and maybe I'll address them in another video that I film like this one. So just like any college experience, there are prerequisites. So the kind of prerequisites for your dog to even start training to be going on campus is, first of all, you need to be sure that your college is aware that you have a service dog and that they will be coming with you on campus, to classes, to your on-campus job, to wherever. The reason that they need to know this is because they are not technically like forced by the ADA to follow completely, depending on what college you go to. So if your college is, government funded in any way, then technically they are forced to follow the ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is the law that protects service dog handlers. However, if they are a private college in any way, they are not required to allow your service dog to come on campus, similar to a church. They don't necessarily have to follow those laws. So basically, it's important for your college to know so that if there's any issues before you bring your dog on campus, you can resolve those so that they are, completely understanding about you having your dog on campus. Sometimes this will require them getting your doctor's letter for your service dog, and it is, I'm pretty sure, at least in my knowledge, being a trainer for 3 years, it is legal for them to ask for that. And to be honest, it's just easier to give it to them other than go through like the whole process. So I personally just gave them my doctor's letter so that they had it in case of some kind of emergency. So they have it, and all of my professors know that I will have my service dog with me on campus. And I will have them with me in my classes. And Michaela had to do that for Toby, which was a retired service dog, and this dog, Sunshine. So that is kind of the first prerequisite, is to make sure that your college is aware that you have a service dog and that you'll be bringing them on campus. The second prerequisite is, personally, I would say your dog has to meet the legal definition of a service dog, which is a dog that performs one or more tasks to assist someone with a disability, and they legally have to be potty trained and controllable in public, and they either have to be on leash or controlled by voice command. So if your dog doesn't meet one of those, I would say make sure your dog meets one of those before you even continue in this video, because that information isn't going to be this information in the rest of this video isn't going to be too helpful for you if your dog doesn't even meet those things yet. So prior to bringing her on campus at all, and prior to her even coming to college, she had all of those things. So then we started talking kind of about what the next steps were, which it's very important that your dog have a good heel and at least be controllable around most distractions. So things like, all right, people are walking by. If your dog is going to pull at every person, that's not an issue to fix on campus. That is an issue to fix before you come to campus. If they have a prey drive that's bad enough where they will chase a squirrel, even if they're on lead, vested, and you are holding on to them, that's not good. Those sorts of things would be deemed inappropriate for a service dog to do and disruptive to the public. So technically they don't really meet the ADA definition, but just in case, I need to make sure I cover my bases here. So once your dog has all of those prereqs, you can sort of move on to the getting ready to train for college. And this is going to be kind of general. I'm going to try to keep it as general as possible. So if your dog is a if they do mobility, if they do guide work, if they do like medical alerts, psychiatric. I'm going to try and keep this as general as possible and not sort of like task focused. So if you guys have other task related questions or like specific questions for your like disability, you can leave them down in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. So firstly, here you'll notice that Sunshine is wearing her new vest and we are on campus. So she is outside and Arlo is here with us. He's just hanging out with us. And she is in a downstay and is expected to stay that way. And we are outside, which is where all these squirrels are, all the birds are, all of the annoying children running past are, and basically it is a big amount of distractions. But this is one of the most populated areas on campus, and it is an area where she will be going past. So as you can see by Michaela's bored face, you can tell that we've been sitting here for a little bit. So the thing that we are working on right now is her either focusing on Michaela or giving us a calm reaction of like a settle, which is basically where she just puts her head on the ground. We want her to basically start to ignore all of the distractions that campus brings. So having kind of a, I don't know if I want to say numbness, but having sort of like a whatever behavior to all of the distractions that come with campus is probably prerequisite number one to coming on campus. So if your dog is walking around on campus and they're chasing squirrels, or they're getting startled by people walking too close to them, or people riding bikes or in wheelchairs or something, that's probably not great. And what I would suggest is you sit on a bench like we are here, and you have your dog in a downstay or a sit or however they're comfortable, and whenever they look at you, you treat them. And it isn't too difficult. We're not using any correction here because we're just trying to capture the behavior of her looking at Michaela. The only real correction we're using is if she gets up from the downstay, we will put her back into the downstay and use a vocal correction, but that's basically it, because we really want her to make the best choice, and we want her to feel like she's making that choice. So this helps a lot with issues with dogs that have a hard time outside, which both Toby and Sunshine sort of struggled with that, in terms of like, oh, there's squirrels out here, there's lots of noises, lots of smells, and she enjoys being outside. So working outside is almost like an entirely separate beast we have to tackle. So with this, I would sort of encourage you to think about what is on your campus that might be distracting for your dog. Our campus, for example, has a lot of squirrels, and we also have these bells that go off every hour to kind of tell the time and stuff like that, and they're pretty loud. So making sure that Sunshine and Arlo are both well trained around squirrels and them running around, because they get pretty close because the college kids feed them. So making sure that they don't have a prey drive and aren't going to chase those things, as well as making sure they aren't too startled when the bells go off. We also have like grates that you have to walk over on campus, like little water grates and drains and stuff like that. So making sure that both dogs are comfortable with all those things, as well as everything else that comes with our campus, is really important. So I would encourage you to think about what's on your campus that might be distracting for your dog, whether that be visually or, auditory, whatever it is. Train your dog around that as much as possible before bringing them to classes with you. The other thing our campus has is other dogs. We obviously have some fakes on campus. You guys have heard us talk about that. Obviously, he's not a fake. This is my dog. This is Arlo. But, we've got a lot of other service dogs on campus. So it's important that Sunshine be able to work around other service dogs, even if the dogs are not behaving or they're doing something that's distracting. Like right now, I have Arlo in a place, which is a downstay basically, and he is going to do the emergency stop command, which is basically I have him come running at me, I recall him, and then I ask him to stop and lay down. So here you can see Sunshine is, still looking at us, but with a redirection, she will focus on Michaela, which is good. So that's kind of what we want, is to make sure that even when another service dog or non-service dog, is on our campus, she can remain focused, remain controllable, remain calm, and still help Michaela out. So that's what we were working on there. It's called parallel training, when we work with 2 service dogs at the same time. So I was training with Arlo and she was training with Sunshine, and that sort of helps her with her tolerance of other dogs working around her. You can obviously see this thrills her, because we were sitting there for about 20 minutes and she got really bored, so yeah. The second tip that I have for you is making sure that your dog knows the importance of a good tuck. So making sure that your dog can do a down stay for a long period of time, like a whole class basically. Sometimes classes can be up to 3 hours under a table, desk, chair, whatever your classroom situation is. So a tuck is a downstay under a piece of furniture, which allows the dog to stay out of the way of moving things, you know, like other dogs or people or whatever in the classroom environment, but still allows them to be close enough to their handler where they can task if needed. So in a good tuck, you want to make sure that your dog is either focused on you, or they are in a settle, which is their head down on the ground in kind of like a calm position, so that your dog can, you know, like Arlo, fall asleep or whatever, just to make sure that they're calm and they're not, you know, too distractive or disruptive to the class. So with Sunshine, we need to make sure that she knows tuck first. So a good downstay is important to start that. She does downstay pretty well. But making her do it under the table is a little bit more uncomfortable, obviously, because, you know, there's a thing above her, and not having that body awareness makes it kind of difficult. So, and then here you can see Michaela working on trying to get her into the settle position. After she learns both tuck and settle, what we will expect after that is that she will not break those 2 commands without being asked, which basically means that, you know, if we drop a book on the other side of the room, or if we push a chair in next to her, you know, not running into her obviously, but next to her, or if we play a loud video or have a teacher talking or have a bunch of people clapping, you know, any sort of distracting noise or visual, she will not get up from her position because Michaela asked her to stay there. So that's kind of difficult, you know, but eventually she'll be able to do that. So right now we're still making sure that we're luring her into that position, and we're luring her into a settle. That's kind of where you start with those things. If you can get an empty classroom, that is the best way to train that, because basically you're only forced to work through the distractions of what's in the hallway instead of what's directly in the classroom. Luckily, this classroom was, you know, empty, and the hallway was basically empty, so working through that can be very helpful in an empty and distraction-free environment to start, but then you can move on to having distractions in the area when your dog is ready. The other tip is, and we didn't really work on this today in this video, but the other tip that I have for you is, can your dog do all of their commands in a classroom or on campus outside? So, you know, Arlo, it was really important that he be able to do fainting response in a classroom, and that was kind of difficult for him originally because, you know, with all the other people standing around, it was a little distracting. So when we started teaching it to him in a classroom, it was important for us to start in an empty classroom. And, you know, just like with any new environment, our dogs will get a little confused at first. So making sure that you work through that confusion with each command to make sure that they can effectively work for you in those environments. So in order to get her a little bit more comfortable with tuck and settle, you can see that what I'm doing is throwing treats and then using the leash to kind of guide her further under the table. Obviously, she is showing me the shepherd in her and definitely giving up. So that's kind of where we were at this point. But as I was saying, making sure that your dog can do all of their commands on campus outside of the classrooms and in the buildings, and in classrooms, like when you're in class, making sure that your dog will task and get up from their downstay in order to task for you. So I feel like those are kind of 2 separate things. It's like making sure that they stay with all other distractions, but making sure they're focused enough on you to get up during, you know, times when you may need them to. And the last tip that I'll leave you with here today, Michaela is emulating very well in this video, which is just being creative to solve issues that might come up in your training. So as you can see before, Sunshine was struggling with tuck. She just didn't want to go under the table unless we like basically pushed her under there ourselves. So what we did is we went on either side of the table and held a treat out, and we asked her to come so that she would go under the table and start to get comfortable with just walking under the table. So not necessarily laying down under the table just yet or staying under there, but just the brief kind of like walking under the table to get to the other side. So, this can be applied to many other things as well, like with Arlo. When he was really struggling with settle, what I would do is I would hold a bone with my foot under my desk so that when he was tucked under my desk, he would settle so that he could chew on the bone, and then I would catch the behavior doing that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can be creative to help your commands on campus, and I know that it's kind of specific to each situation, yikes, but I will try to give you as many tips as I possibly can to help with just basic stuff, because obviously this isn't specific to any specific task or type of service dog or anything, but I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this helped you sort of like think about certain things that you might not know yet about what your service dog needs to know before they start going to classes with you. Let me know if you guys want to see any more videos like this. We definitely do a lot of training sessions on campus with Sunshine because of the fact that she's just kind of starting out and she's not ready to necessarily go to classes yet, but we're trying to get her to that point. So let us know what you guys want to see. What specific things do you need help with? I will try and get a video out on different requests so that people can, get the help that they need. Otherwise, you can email me down in the email that's in the description, and I will try to respond there, or you can DM me on Instagram. You can also take a look at our Amazon wish list, which is in the description. Every package that I get from you guys, if you send a note with it, I will open it in a video and you'll get a shout out. As well as our Redbubble is also down there in our Yup discount code. So if you want to get a Yup harness like Arlo's that you've seen in this video, you can use our discount code. And while you're getting a 15% discount, we also get some store credit. So that would be great. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Let me know, and I will see you guys in whatever we make next. Bye.